2x2 rib means knit 2, purl 2. And if you look at the sample, you can see here's a column of knit and here's a column of purl and another column of knit. And so it's knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, and so on around the sample. This is a really common edge that we'll see on hats, on sweater cuffs, on sweater bottoms. I mean, you just see ribbing everywhere. And so it's important to understand how to do it, what it means, and some things that you will want to think about when you're setting up your 2x2 rib. Okay, so let's just take a look at how to knit it. It's pretty self-explanatory. I've already started the sample, so I've got several rounds already done. And essentially, we're going to do exactly what it says, which is knit 2, and purl 2. And I knit in the English throwing method. I learned that way. I think it's a good way to understand the basic mechanics of knitting, but I know it's not for everybody, but it's just, you know, we all have our own style. And we're going to knit 2 again, and purl 2. And that's the whole pattern. 2x2 ribbing means that you're just doing 2 knits and 2 purls, and you're doing it around and around, or you can do it, you know, back and forth, but in this case we're doing it in the round. I use this particular edge in a number of my hat patterns. I will link to those below. So this is a great ribbing method to be familiar with. So 2x2 rib is a 4-stitch repeat, and what that means is, I'll show you in the next bit here. What that means is the stitch repeat is knit 2, purl 2, and we're just doing that over and over. And so as you can see, that's 4 stitches. So where does this become most critically important? It is most important when you are setting up your cast on row and figuring out how many stitches that you want to cast on. Because when you are doing a knit 2, purl 2, you want to not only be aware of your gauge and what your stitch count needs to be for whatever the fit is that you're going for, you also want to make sure that whatever that stitch count is, it's going to be divisible by 4, because this is a 4-stitch repeat. So in my sample, I have 24 stitches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 on each half of the needle. And so that counts to 24. 24 will divide by 4 6 times. Now if I had put 22 stitches on, that is not divisible by 4, and what would happen is when you come back here, which is where you start your new round, or back at the beginning, what would happen is you're not going to have this extra purl. You're going to wind up having 4 knits together. So you definitely want to make sure that if you're doing 2x2 rib, you have something divisible by 4. I'm going to show you this sample, which this is the sweater that I put on my phone. I always knit stuff to put my phone in because it keeps it protected. And I can't show the phone in it right now because I'm actually using the phone to record this video. But in this sample, I did a knit 2, purl 2 repeat, which is a 2-stitch repeat. So there's a knit and a purl, or I'm sorry, a knit 1, purl 1. So that is just a 2-stitch repeat. So in this case, if you did a 22 stitch cast on, it would be fine because that will be divisible by 2. But when you have this knit 2, purl 2, you've got to make sure that you arrive at a cast on that not only fits the gauge that you're looking for, but also is divisible by 4. So that is just a really critical part to getting your ribbing just right when you're doing knit 2, purl 2. So I hope that explains the stitch and explains the special consideration when you are knitting with this, which is a super common, we see it everywhere, stitch pattern. If you have any questions about using knit 2, purl 2 in your projects, be sure to ask me in the comment section below. I'll do my best to answer your questions or help you. And before you leave today, I would love if you liked the video and if you would subscribe to the channel. It really helps a lot and I appreciate it so much. So until next time, happy knitting, and I will see you around.